How do I handle my husband's Super Bowl party? My 31 female, husband 36 male, and I are supposed to be having a Super Bowl party tomorrow. We've been in a fight for weeks, and he invited people while we were fighting. I have no idea how many he invited or the guest list. Most of our friends all stem from his friend group. I only invited one friend and her husband. I've asked him if he coordinated for people to bring shareables and contributions. Doesn't answer. I ask him how many and who is coming. Doesn't answer. I ask him what time people are coming, and he doesn't answer. He's not the kind of person that plays host well. That always falls on me. He doesn't think about making sure people are fed and have drinks, etc. And it's the night before, and we have nothing in our fridge to suggest that we have food to heat up or make, no beverages to get us through a party. How do I handle this situation? On one hand, I'm tempted to let this party be a disaster, but on the other hand, I'll be embarrassed if it is. In the comments, Acrobatic Ear says, "Tell your friend that you can't host and don't be there. Watch the game at a bar or a friend's house, or skip it altogether and go to a movie. I would seriously reevaluate this relationship. He's punishing you by making this your anxiety." OP replies, "I think this is what he's doing. Because if I do nothing, I'll get blamed or embarrassed in front of his friends. If I do something, then I'm bailing him out and taking shots in the dark at what this party needs." Hats and Topcoats replies, "Like everybody else is saying, don't be there for the party. Don't run your life to try and please your husband's asshole idiot friends who would blame you in your absence. And I would also encourage you not to be married to someone who wants his friends to think badly of you." When asked what was the original fight about, OP says, "It started with me telling him about certain things he does that upset me. He gave his typical response of, 'You shouldn't have married me then.' Then it escalated when I found out he was charging our shared credit card, which is meant for shared expenses, for personal things like Pokemon cards, $1,000 worth in a single month. I told him that it was shady to charge our shared credit card and not tell me, to which he replied, 'I don't owe you an explanation. It's my credit card.' Mind you, we each have like 5 to 8 personal credit cards. This one in particular was our shared one. Then he got angry that I was accusing him of being shady." Update. I had the courage to ask one of his best buddies if my husband told anyone to bring contributions, and he said no. Second update, additional info, his friends all have wives that I am friends with. Half of them have kids. I don't know who's coming, but I can't bank on it just being a guy's party. And now on to the proper update. First, thank you everyone for the support and advice. I truly did not think that I'd have the tiniest fraction of a response as I did. It was a lot to take in, and the comments and conversations started taking an even deeper turn that I wasn't prepared to address. I know my update will be disappointing for a lot of people, but here it is. Yesterday morning, my husband spoke 0 words towards me until his buddy, the one that I had the courage to text the day before, called him late in the morning to ask what was going on / the plan. I think he partially did it because even the guys don't like going into such a party with no game plan, and also I think he could read between the lines of my texts / desperation the day prior and was trying to light a fire under my husband's ass. After that, all of a sudden my husband was motivated to do stuff and trying to confirm head counts. Ultimately, only his one buddy and his wife showed up, and then my 2 friends. For reference, last year when I organized the Super Bowl party, we had 30+ people attend. So that's what I was initially expecting. I can't say for sure what caused a huge difference in turnout, but likely all of our friends could tell that there was 0 planning and didn't want to partake in an important event so unorganized. Knowing half the party was now my friends, I decided to step in. We went to the store together and grabbed necessities. He acted like all was normal the rest of the day. Flash forward to today, he isn't giving me the silent treatment anymore, but it is certainly tense. Not enjoyable conversation. No, I didn't get any thank you. Jokes. I can understand why everyone wanted me to leave for the party. Maybe I'm a pushover, but when you're in these situations where standing up for yourself is ridiculed as being vindictive, you start walking on eggshells more and doing what you can to prevent arguments. Also, disclaimer, we are Eagles fans. So for my sake, I didn't want to preemptively put a damper on my evening in case there would be a positive outcome to the game. Again, thank you everyone, and I'm sorry that my update isn't juicier. Update 2, Mass Inquiry. First of all, I have scheduled regular meetings with a therapist, individual because my husband won't do couples therapy. My first session is next week to try to work through this, but I have a mass inquiry for anyone following this post. Everyone keeps telling me my husband doesn't even like me or doesn't love me. Fair, I can understand that and even think that myself. What I have a hard time understanding is, why marry me, buy us a house, push to have children if this is the case? I'm not doubting everyone's opinions, I genuinely want to understand why someone would go through all that. In the comments, Away Instant says, they have 5 to 8 personal credit cards each, and he started charging thousands of dollars worth of stuff to the one shared card? I'ma guess their finances are fucked. Yeah, this 100%. I guarantee he ran up all his personal cards, and that's why he needs to use the joint card now. Sounds like they have separate finances, which just allows the financially irresponsible spouse to hide it for longer. Quote, buy us a house, push to have children if this is the case. OP is so naive, man. I feel really bad for her, and she set herself up with a literal man-child. Why did he marry her if he doesn't like her? Well, that's because she made a decent bang nurse, mummy maid, therapist, house cleaner, chore doer, take all the mental and most of the physical load off him, And that's more important than him liking her. His happiness comes from his freedom and complete lack of responsibilities. Her happiness is not part of any equation. I hope she leaves him. It sounds as if he wants sex and chores done, and someone to give him and raise the children. She isn't supposed to have wants or to burden him with them. This is so sad. I do hope she leaves him. This exactly. She's not a person to him, just an incubator with a convenient do the chores function. OP needs to get the hell out of there ASAP for her own safety. Well, not the asshole OP, but yeah, like everyone else is saying, there are much bigger fish to fry than this one. From the outside in, I'm sure he's perfect except for this one thing, like everyone says, and that you're totally not going to come back with another update in the future being like, oh my god, I was such an idiot. I actually hated him the whole time. No one ever does that in these stories. That would be ridiculous. What? I was so unhappy the whole time, I just didn't realize it. Anyway, I think on the $1,000 of Pokemon cards alone, that's enough to be like, what the hell is happening with those other 5 to 8 credit cards? Man, you guys need to go on Caleb Hammer right now. I need to see what's going on there. Why marry me? Why buy a house and want kids if he doesn't like me? The unfortunate answer to that is that there's a lot of people in life that operate this way because they only care about themselves. I don't think this marriage is worth saving. I feel like for your mental health and your well-being, you should just leave him. Let's be honest. Our next post is by user PurpleHair1877, and it's titled, Am I the asshole here for not letting my boyfriend move in with me? I, 28 female, live alone with my dog, 12 female. Let's call her Nina. She's my baby. I found her and her siblings when they were about 2 weeks old and care for them. Only 2 survived, sadly, but I have to admit that I spoiled her since the beginning because she barely made it. My boyfriend, 30 male, still lives with his mum, which is not abnormal in our culture, but lately they've been fighting a lot because his sister moved back in along with her kids, and he doesn't have much space. He has a very good job, so he can realistically move out alone, but he's very hesitant in wanting to move in with me. We've only been dating for 8 months, and I don't think that we're there yet. Also, every time he visits, he complains about something about Nina. He got mad the other night because he wanted to sleep over and wanted me to kick Nina out of the bed, and I refused. I told him before, if he doesn't like it, he can literally just break up with me. I'm not changing mine or Nina's life just because he doesn't want to move out alone. Well, On Friday, he got into a big fight with his family because one of his nephews grabbed his Nintendo Switch and damaged it or something, and he came to my house with all of his things packed, pretending to just stay over without telling me, and immediately trying to change things around. He said Nina can sleep on the floor of our room or in the living room, but he ain't living with a dog who is on the furniture. To make a long story short, I kicked him out and told him that he's never even asked if he could come over, and Nina lives here. He doesn't. He yelled a lot and got even more mad when I didn't react. He left and has been texting me from a hotel telling me that he's losing money because I'm mean and a bad girlfriend. I told him that we'll talk about it once he gets his own place. I told my friends about it, and some of them were on my side, but others said that I was prioritizing a dog over a human, and yes, maybe, but why is it so wrong? I started doubting myself, but I'm not really willing to make my dog suffer because he can't adapt to her or find his own place. So am I the asshole here? In the comments, not the asshole. Break up with this guy. Not just because he can't respect that your dog lives there, but because he doesn't respect you and the rules in your home. If you let him move in, he will just take over and he'll probably abuse your dog when you're not around. This guy doesn't communicate with you. He imposes himself on you without warning and then tries to throw his weight around. He truly isn't worth your time. He sounds like a nightmare. OP says, I wanted to break up, but my friends said that I was overreacting, so I doubted myself. Not the arsehole. He sounds like the type of person to give away your dog when you leave and then say that it ran away. Also, he wants to move directly from mama to you. He wants someone to continue taking care of him, to cook and clean. OP says, I just cringed a little and feel stupid now. Let's see. Lived with dog for 12 years, been with human for 8 months. Yeah, your math is correct, because your friends that say you are prioritizing a dog over a human are crazy. You and boyfriend might not be together in 2 months, but the dog will still be there. So ask yourself, why do you consider those people friends or think their advice is valid? OP says, it's the first time that they said something like that. They're usually very big animal lovers, so that's why I doubted myself a bit. It honestly weirded me out when she said that. Not the arsehole. Why are you with him when he doesn't accept your dog? OP says, I only let him know where I live 2-ish months ago, and he never said anything other than he wasn't raised with dogs like that. But when he started wanting to move in, I was like, nope. But it felt weird breaking up with him over that. I've always been impulsive, and sometimes I regret the things I did without thinking. Those friends who think you were overreacting are wrong. They are rather dumb too, and they probably think the same way as your soon-to-be ex about your dog. That idiot you were dating is not a good person. I can promise you he's an entitled, controlling, immature piece of shit. He wants to move in with you so that you can cook for him, clean up after him, do his dishes, wash his clothes, etc. He needs a woman, you, to play mummy to him. I can also promise you that he will never ever help you with anything in the house. Dump that trash. Never ever betray your dog. Especially not for a filthy and totally worthless piece of garbage like your boyfriend. OP says, honestly, it surprised me he thinks that I'll do chores because he knows I won't do it unless I don't have any other options. And now, onto the update. To make a very long story short, I broke up with him. I didn't feel like being a mature person, so I sent him a text and then blocked him again. He decided that it was a good idea to get drunk and tried to break into my building, and the security had to kick him out. I already removed him from the visitors list, so there's no issue there. I also decided to talk to my boss, just in case he tries anything stupid. As for Nina, she's as spoiled as ever, maybe even more. We're preparing for the fireworks on Christmas and New Year's. I have some blankets, earplugs, and her favorite treats just in case. And that's the update. Nothing particularly dramatic, just immature, I guess. I think that's all for now. In the comments, Ty O'Connell says, Has anyone ever had it go well when trying to launch a new stage of a new relationship less than a year in by trying to disrespect and displace a beloved pet? Specific behaviors aside, this man deserves to be ditched for being an idiot and a hobosexual. If I was dating and someone started telling me my dogs had to get off the couch or the bed, I'd tell them that we aren't compatible. I'm not changing my dog's life for anyone. I'd make that clear from the start. I'm glad OP stood up for her pooch. This guy was just looking for a maid/housekeeper and cheap rent. Anyone who insists on removing pets from your care when they enter a relationship with you should immediately see the curb. The dog was here before him, and she's gonna stay long after him too. Good riddance. Easy peasy lemon squeezy kinda story. Interesting how he just showed up uninvited to her place with bags already packed after you already said to him, I don't know about that, Chief. I think if your partner can't respect your subtle boundaries from the get-go, they're just asking to be broken up with when they do push those boundaries later. They can act dumb and be like, oh, I had no clue that I was actually doing something wrong here. I mean, we talked about it, right? But really, yeah, I mean, all of his behaviors after the fact show that he's just not a good person. Like, attempting to break into your building after the breakup is not acceptable behavior. You didn't have to make a very long story short, OP. I wanted to know the full goss, and you stole that from me. God damn it. Thanks for the story, and thanks for the update. Our next post is from a deleted account, titled, I, 24 female, am a bit of a loner. The new guy that I've been seeing, 29 male, doesn't like that. Argument about a solo camping trip that I've been planning for months. I'm in that stage where I'm not sure if he's my boyfriend or not. We'll call him Kyle. We met on OkCupid 2 months ago and have gotten dinner and lunch and watched Netflix several times, but we haven't had the talk yet. I just got out of a relationship in September, so I'm in no rush to make anything official. We have fooled around a bit though. I've learned over the years that I like to be alone. Granted, I like to be with people too, but I like it to be somewhat equal amounts. I'm all for cuddling and going out 3 or 4 nights a week, but sometimes I just want to stay in and read a book in a bubble bath. Anyway, I planned a solo camping trip a few months back, before I met Kyle, for the Memorial Day weekend in May of next year. I'm going to take my kayak and drive 400 miles away to the UP of Michigan and camp and hike and kayak and go fishing, and I'm really excited. It's on my bucket list to take a solo road trip/camping trip. I mentioned this to Kyle like 3 weeks ago, and he said how much he loves camping and hiking. I basically said, that's awesome. Maybe in June or July, you and I can go on a trip together. And he said, well, you're going in May. I could just tag along. And I kinda said, well, I would really like to go alone. It's something I've always wanted to do. And he acted kinda hurt, but said, oh, okay, maybe some other time then. And I thought that was the end of it. Over the last few days, he's brought it up a few more times, ranging from, oh man, you're gonna be so bored out there all alone, to think of all those experiences you won't be sharing with someone, to I'm worried about you, a young attractive woman being all alone camping in the middle of nowhere. I'm bringing like 3 pepper sprays and like 5 of my various knives, and I picked a park widely known for its family-friendly, safe and well-lit atmosphere. I'm not very worried. But yesterday, he pulled a new one out of his hat. This was 10 minutes after he tried talking to me about the camping trip again, copied and pasted from the Facebook status that he posted. You know what's not normal? Women who claim to want a ton of alone time. Makes me wonder what they're really doing in their alone time. What they're hiding. No normal person wants to be alone all the time. And a ton of people commented saying that it was shady and not normal and weird. And he liked every comment agreeing with him. Like, what the fuck? He's 29. I'm 24 and I'm too old for this shit. Note, we are not friends on Facebook. I found this out by kinda creeping on his page a bit. We have a few mutual friends and his page is mostly visible. So I'm debating on how to bring this up without sounding like a stalker. Is it worth talking out? Should I cut my losses now? It's only been 2 months, and I really don't have time for these games anymore. In the comments, I don't think you should bring up the Facebook status. I think you should just stop seeing him. You two are incompatible. He clearly doesn't know how to handle having a very independent partner, and you don't want to be in a relationship with someone who airs their dirty laundry on Facebook anyway. This is exactly what I would recommend. At this point in the relationship, you don't owe him a huge explanation, so it isn't far-fetched to simply say that you felt like you weren't compatible and leave it at that. Yeah, nah, I would get out of that. Not because he wants to come on your camping trip, but because of the horrendously whiny, passive-aggressive Facebook post, and because he liked all the comments agreeing with him. Ew. And now, onto the update. So I wanted to thank everyone for the unanimous advice of ending things. I did. A few days ago, I told him that we just weren't compatible and we should split. He did not take it well. He basically told me that I was crazy for wanting to be alone so often and no one would ever want me. He said I wasn't normal and I would regret my decision and he pitied me and blah blah whatever. Well, I admit, I tried to be the bigger person and be mature about it. I was. For a while. I basically sent him a message saying I'm sorry he feels that way and I hope he finds someone else that shares his maturity level that needs constant validation as much as he does. He went off on me, spouting some BS that I quite frankly didn't read. I deleted the texts as they came in and blocked him in every way known to man. I'll have an extra beer for him while I'm enjoying my upcoming peaceful and serene camping trip. In the comments, Berserker Gang says, and I'm just sitting here thinking, if she's going out 3 or 4 nights a week, calling herself a loner/introvert, what the hell am I? I read it more like, I'm fine with hanging out with my partner 3 to 4 times a week, but I need my alone time, rather than full-on going out with other folks. My partner made a comment to me after a week with my family for Christmas, saying that I didn't seem like myself, whereas in my head, I felt like I was very much myself, and I realized it was because I was at my social battery limit, and I just couldn't be around people anymore. And he's never really seen that side of me because I don't get like that with him. If there were ever an appropriate time to break up over Facebook, it's this. Imagine witnessing someone getting broken up with in their own Facebook comments. I once watched a dude get tagged in a happy 1-year anniversary post, only for another girl to pipe up that she was also dating him, and the comments erupted. He was at work at the time, so finished his shift to find out the 2 gals had shared receipts and dumped him in the comments, and people were laughing at him. Anyway, living up to my username, that's the T123, and here I am the whole time thinking, damn, I'd spend that time finding my Enos. Call me Jack Twist, 'cause I ain't spending all that time alone, out in the woods. I'm gonna find me a nice country man to lay down with, and then get fired from my job for stemming the rose while on the job. The way God intended. With that out of the way, yeah, OP. What a nightmare, huh? What a weird boyfriend you got there. I think this one was written before Facebook rolled out the privacy updates. Now I can't see shit on people's profiles. What am I supposed to do? I want interpersonal drama, and all this privacy mumbo jumbo has stopped me from finding it. This is unacceptable. Take me back to the time that OP wrote this post so I can go stalking people like her. Like she did, I mean. I'm not trying to stalk her. Also, what was that movie villain monologue bullshit of like, oh, women that can't be alone, you can't trust them, they're up to no good. How has no one direct messaged him after that and been like, you sound like a fucking freak posting that on Maine like that. Get your head out of your ass. What's wrong with you? That's like intro to serial killer mentality right there. I've said it before and I'll say it again. We need to bring shame back. People need to be shamed for speaking like that on their Facebooks so openly. It's not 2012 anymore, all right? We're not hunting Coney anymore, you know? He's not a threat. We're not treating our Facebooks like diary entries anymore. Our next post is by user Scared Anon Throw, titled, "My boyfriend smashed our television set in anger when his football team lost. I, 29 female, have honestly never been so scared in my life. My sister is letting me stay with her. Only her and my brother-in-law know what happened. I've never seen anyone so furious over something so small. I'm gonna end our relationship because I can't stay with someone, 30 male, who destroys things over a loss, especially with me cornered in the room while he's yelling and smashing. I am ashamed, but for a second I thought I would die. It was so scary, and though it was on Friday, thinking about it still makes me cry. Thank you for reading and listening. It wasn't over an American football team. I live in the UK and we are Southampton supporters. I don't know a thing about American football." In the comments, "How long were you together?" OP says, "We began dating in June of last year and we moved in together 2 weeks ago on September 4th. Excellent decision. One day he'll reach out for something to smash and you will be the closest thing. Or you might even be the cause of his rage. Either way, remember the resolve you have right now and stay the course." OP says, "I've seen the injuries from abuse at my job. I'm a nurse, and I never want that to happen to me if I can prevent it." How much was the bet he lost? OP says, "I'm not sure if he bet anything. However, if he did, it would have been £50 or less than that. Never be ashamed of your instincts. They were warning you to get out and you listened. Always listen. Please take someone with you to retrieve your stuff. Protect yourself and get a DVO." OP says, "My brother-in-law said he and his mates will retrieve my belongings next week for me, so I don't have to go back there, thankfully." Albatross says, "There are some legal things you need to think about. I don't know the tenancy laws in the UK, but you may need to report the incident to the police so that you can get out of any lease that you have with him. Make sure to keep any photo or video evidence of what he did if you took any. You were probably too scared, and that's okay, as they may need some form of evidence for the report." OP says, "Our flat is owned by his uncle and was previously used by his cousin while he attended uni," which is short for university. "So fortunately, I can just leave as we didn't have a leasehold or anything like that. The police are aware of the incident also because one of our neighbors heard the noise and shouting and called 999. And now, onto the update. So I wanted to come back and post an update, even though I understand that I don't come across very well in this. I am aware of how stupid I was for believing my boyfriend when I said he would change. Warning that there is mention of domestic violence in my post. So I was stupid and I took him back. I know I said I was going to leave him, but he convinced me he was sorry and that he would change. I first posted here 3.5 years ago. My boyfriend and I had not lived together very long, and in a fit of anger, he smashed our television because his favorite football team lost a match. He's a Southampton supporter and became angry when they lost. I was so terrified when it happened. I was going to leave him, and I told him our relationship was over. But he convinced me he was sorry and said that he loved me so much. I took him back. For nearly 6 months, things were better, and he was much more loving and attentive. But then his anger came back, and he didn't just destroy things when he was upset. He started hitting me. I'm ashamed to admit that I stayed with him for 3 years, and I only left him for good 6 months ago after he broke my nose. He never did anything more than leave bruises before that, and I always rationalized that it wasn't that bad. I'm ashamed because I'm an A&E nurse, and I see victims all the time, and I should have known better. I've not had contact with him for 6 months. I will not take him back again, and the police are involved after he broke my nose. I'm seeing a counselor, but I hate myself because I should have known better. I'm so ashamed, but I'm posting here so that others can learn from my stupidity. My situation didn't get better, and it's the hardest lesson I have ever had. I hope this helps someone else. In the comments, Quick Scheme says, "Don't be hard on yourself. Just because you're a nurse, that doesn't mean that you're impenetrable to manipulation and abuse. Have you ever wondered why there are so many DV victims? Nobody would accept that on a first date. It doesn't say much about you and a lot about how well he lies and traps. Well done. What matters is that you left. That is all. I'm glad you're out now. Please, if you ever feel in doubt about your choice, read again your post and then ask for help. I don't know you, but be sure that you matter. For me and for other people, I'm completely sure about that. And you are valued so much more than that piece of shit of your ex. Don't hate yourself. If you really hated yourself, you would have stayed. You love yourself, so you left. What you are feeling is embarrassment, but no one should fault you for your timeline. Just be grateful that you did get out before even more damage was done. I believe that the average is 7. It takes 7 tries for women to leave their abusers permanently. 7 years for me. I was so broken that I didn't date again for 18 years because I felt like I couldn't trust myself to make good decisions about men. It took me 5 times. We lived together, so it was a lot harder to just say it's over and walk away. I finally left after they started making me sit and listen to them rant for an hour every day about all the ways they would kill me, but that I'm all so lucky that they won't because they love me. It was only when it got super specific about how they would hide my body and get away with it when I was like, oh shit, he is going to kill me, and I should leave. It took me a few months and a bit of debt to get away, but I'm just grateful that I got out with my life. As people have pointed out, that 7 average statistic as well is just that. It is just an average. Some people leave after the first incidents of violence. Some it takes 10, 20, 30 different incidences before they leave, and that's why it averages down to that 7. I've seen people clear that up in the comments, so just wanted to say it is not a hard and fast rule. In regards to this story with OP though, I would find it hard to believe that anyone could hold against you the fact that it took you 3 more years to leave. It's good that you got out with your life. It's good that you didn't stay. Don't beat yourself up for not listening to people the first time. We all know that if and when he gets in contact with you, he will just repeat the cycle and he'll behave before starting the cycle again. And next time it will be more than just your nose. Because he's already pushed this far, Like the comments have said, it can get as far as they will be awfully specific about how they will kill you and get away with it. It is crazy to me that I live and walk around people like that and I will never know that there are monsters like that around me. I will never know who thinks and says those things. But the fact that it's so common means that at any point in time, I am surrounded by at least one person that is that monstrous. That is crazy to me. Thank you for the story, thank you for the update, and thank you for helping spread awareness, OP. And that's all I have for you today, guys. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.